Welcome back to the newscast, Holly.
Hi, Polly. It's good to see you.
So first, you did attend ICT's Native Vote panel at the Reservation Economic Summit earlier this year. And while I was on that panel, I really did want to know your thoughts on what you were looking at in terms of what congressional races or what races in general could be determined by the Native vote.
Well, excuse me, there are only a few of those in the country, as you know, and a few of those are competitive this cycle. I first start looking at our Native candidates, of course, but those that can be swung by the Native vote certainly are Senator Tester's race in the state of Montana. The presidential race can be swung by the Native American vote in the state of Arizona, and they can affect the United States Senate race there as well. We're hopeful that the Native American vote population in Arizona's second district could also be impactful. Now, Nevada's U.S. Senate seat, incumbent Senator Rosen there is working hard on the Native vote as well. That is going to be a very tough race, and it could be won in the single digits. And if that's the case, then the Native American vote could have a huge impact on there. So really, when you look at it overall, there is a possibility that the Native American vote, this could be a banner year in terms of swaying the majority in the U.S. Senate. Right now, we have a one-seat majority in the House. That is going to be hand-to-hand combat district by district. And certainly, if it comes down to Arizona again as what it's looking like as one of the main battleground states, the Native American vote is getting a lot of attention. So there's huge potential, and it's going to be an exciting few months in front of us.
And Holly, can you talk a little bit? We are seeing again a rematch between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. And in that race, the Native vote was very key. And can you talk a little bit more about the importance of the Native vote in that election and how it could possibly come into play again this election?
Yes, as you know, as we move into this cycle, all the talk about battleground states, those states where they're not decidedly red or decidedly blue, where what we call purple, and they could go either way. And that is where the candidates are going to focus their time, their money, and efforts on turning out the vote. Now, those states this year are the classic ones in the Midwest with Michigan, Wisconsin. Both of those also have very competitive Senate races. We've got Montana, where that seat is not that is not a battleground state for the presidency, but it is for the Senate. And then we go into Arizona and a few other states as well. Of those, Arizona is certainly the state with the most opportunity, with about 5.5%, 6% of the population in the state. That state is going to be won by. We won't be looking at percentage points. We're going to be looking at the number of ballots, and it was won by just over 10,000 ballots in 2020. So it's going to be very close again as we move towards November.
And speaking of Arizona, former Navajo Nation President Jonathan Nez is running for Arizona's second congressional district. The incumbent in that seat is Representative Eli Crane, and that seat in particular is a more conservative district. And so, my question to you, Holly, is what is the likelihood that former Navajo Nation President Jonathan Nez will be able to overcome incumbent Eli Crane?
That's an uphill battle. The partisan voter index, which is a measure of the voting strength, they take registered voters, compare them to each other, weight past voter turnout, and the partisan voter index is an R+6, so leaning towards 6 points in the Republican favor. Eli Crane is one of the more conservative members of Congress. He's one of the small group who voted to oust Kevin McCarthy last fall, and as a very active member. So he's also a freshman. So we're not sure how all of that is going to play out with the constituency in Arizona's second district. Now, the issue of abortion is really something that is driving a lot of what I think are normally Republican voters away from and towards Democrats with their reproductive rights platform. There is, I think, a huge opportunity if Jonathan Nez can raise the money, if he is good on the stump, and really, gets out there and works that. There's a huge opportunity to flip that seat. I don't think anybody's putting it in a toss-up status yet, but we're still early. We're, the beginning of April, and it's going to be a long summer.
And in Montana, the state Supreme Court there struck down laws that said that disenfranchised Native voters. And so, can you tell us a little bit more about that case and the importance of, in general, cases like this?
And we've seen more of these. We saw that in North Dakota where they had the tribal ID requirement, knowing full well that they wanted the tribal IDs to have our address, knowing full well so many reservations don't have street addresses. And so in Montana, what they looked at was same day registration and third-party ballot collecting, where someone else can turn in your vote for you. So there were two state laws that were passed. The Montana Supreme Court found that those laws hindered the Native Americans' access to the ballot and violated the Montana Constitution in terms of their right to vote. So it was a huge victory for Native American voting advocates. Western Native Voice was one of the lead plaintiffs, along with several of the tribes in the state, and some other voting organizations, along with the Democratic Party of Montana. So that was a huge victory in terms of making sure that access to the ballot is ensured for Native Americans in Montana. Now, it's one of the most, and folks can say, well, it said, really nothing about Native Americans, but Montana is one of the least diverse states in the country. It's 88% white people. There are little over 6.5% that are Native Americans. Less than 1/2 of 1% are African American or Asian. So the target there really was Native Americans, and that was a huge win for Indian country. And I think really, sends a message to other states that may be thinking of doing the same thing.
And then, just very briefly here, Holly, before we wrap up, historically, has the Native vote been attacked through state, bills and redistricting?
Yeah, definitely. I think through redistricting is one of the reasons why there's never been a Native American from the state of Arizona sent to the United States Congress, which seems like a travesty, right? The Navajo Nation in and of itself, like-minded communities, all of those standards that go into redistricting should be empowering the Native American vote. We've sent Native Americans to Congress, 11 Native Americans to Congress, not one from Arizona, in a state that has such a huge, impactful population. It continues to be a travesty. That's a result of redistricting. These state laws, like I said, we have had North Dakota, we've had Montana, and we're winning those cases, thankfully. But yes, I do. There is a history of states and state courts really being the forum to attack the ability of Native Americans to vote.
Well, that's all the time that we have today, Holly. Thank you again so much for joining the newscast.
Yes, thank you, Pauly. It's good to see you.